All right, we are going live for episode 76 of the On the Hunt podcast. Joining me tonight is the number one Lions fan, Mr. Bobby Bless. And Bobby, give me like 45 seconds here, my friend, so that I can make sure everything's running smoothly. And
Yeah.
tell us how you're doing and just how excited you are to now be getting that first victory hat. I do believe, because I don't think you do it for the preseason, but first victory
You
hat
know.
of the 2024 year.
Thank you, brother. To be honest, I did something that I normally don't do this year, and that was not buy a single hat this past summer. Because lately, especially with how our Lions been playing, I've been running out of hats to buy. So to not hopefully not jinx us, because believe it or not, I am a little superstitious. I brought my first hat since the draft hat today at Lowe's. I mean, not at Lowe's, at Lids. I'm sorry. And
Lowe's.
hey, Lowe's got some Lion stuff too.
Do they?
Yes, they do. They got
I did
like
not know that.
yeah, they got like wall signs and whole bunch. You can get the Lions paint, but anyway, the paint your man cave, that kind of stuff. But yeah, brother, just going to the mall. Hey, you know how I don't know if you're familiar with George Jefferson, Elijah. Are you George Jefferson? You ever seen the
Uh,
Jeffersons?
I've never seen the Jeffersons, but I heard they're on their way up.
No, see.
You
Anyway,
know,
man, throw a tomato at him. That was so. Oh my god. But um, anyway, I had me a nice little strut going in there, walking in there, and I was like, felt
right.
like the Rock. I felt like the Rock. Finally, the Rob has come back. So the
Yeah.
mall, that was a good thing. And I went to a couple of different stores, and believe it or not, I checked out Rally House, and then I checked out Lids. Rally House had a lot of Detroit Lions merchandise because it's a newer store in my city. If you listen to our episodes before and my merch alert, I've talked about Rally House quite a bit. I typically before we got a store in Toledo less than a year, maybe 6 months. We got two stores actually, and I was ordering from Livonia, Michigan, Rally House quite a bit. But I went in there, uh, looked around, got me a good hat, and then is it time to show my hat? Would you like to see my hat
Yeah, yeah, go
already?
ahead, man. Go ahead. For
Okay,
sure.
so the hat that I end up getting, I could have got a better deal online. The way Lids is set up, the best deals are literally online. You end up paying a little bit more going to the mall and purchase the hat, but you can't strut like the winning team online. I did in the
Okay.
mall. So that was worth it. That's worth it. But make a long story short, I've been seeing this hat come down my timeline quite a bit. It is a plaid Detroit Lions hat. It's the blue. Let me see if it can you see me see it?
It's kind of fading in and out
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
what they.
yeah,
Oh, that's a
yeah.
nice one.
Yeah, it's nice, no plaid. Uh,
It's like a golf hat, almost in
yeah,
a way.
yeah, yeah. It pretty much is, brother. Now that you think about it, I do need me some Argyle pants to go with this. But yeah, man. I'll post it on the page, and I might go ahead and post it on my timeline for sure, just to file it because I have brought hats. I brought hats last year. I haven't even wore yet. This is sad. It's the way my bank account is set up. I need to
Got
be.
chicken in his savings.
Yeah, I got. Yeah, yeah. I gotta be at work to do a lot of this and that. So I
That's
just ain't
funny.
had time. So but I just felt like I needed to go and get my hat. It's been times where I go right after the game, but
Yeah.
it wasn't this time. I was tired. But yeah, man, everything's good. Lions are winning. You know what I mean? So I think we well on our way. And I went into another store. I went to Lids Locker Room. That's more of a merchandise store, and I got this chain on here, this little Detroit Lions chain with the logo on there. You might have seen a couple people wearing it and stuff. So
How much
I
was
was,
that?
man, too much. Too
Oh,
damn
okay.
much.
We it's bad when he can't even say it on the show.
Man, I'm gonna say it, but I'm a cheap bastard. I could have paid. I feel like I should have paid less. It was about $37, 35 with 37, 38 with the taxes on there. I thought that was quite a bit too much. The hat was expensive as hell too. But I love this Detroit Lions stuff. A win brings out my wallet. So the wallet, like, what is you doing? I'm like, let's go. It was a battle, but let's go one. But make a long story short, man, it's just good to just have that feel and how we won the game. I'm pretty sure we about to talk a little bit more about that, but go Lions.
Oh yeah, man, for sure. And we definitely do want to get into the game itself. I know for me, obviously it being the late night game, national television, you're waiting all day for the Lions to play football. And for me, I tried to find some other games to watch, in the meantime, but there is nothing like watching a Lions football game. And obviously everybody that watches this program agrees with that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be watching this program. But one of the things that I initially, just kind of an overview, okay? One of the things that I initially was frustrated about, Bobby, was the fact that we got up big and then we let them score 17 unanswered points. And in my soul, I just went, Lord, please do not let them win this game, because we let them back into it when we should have just finished stomping their will out. And for me, it kind of reminded me, I hate to say this, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of that San Francisco game, because it was like, like those type of games where you get up by that much, like you should close them out. Now, granted, I'm not here to complain about a victory, but I'm just saying, and as I'm watching the game, the real live emotion for me was, no, 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 no. Please don't let them come back in here. Now, I don't know, Bobby, were you having that same feeling, or was I alone in that boat?
I definitely was, and it's just I think the defense, particularly the secondary, I think they broke. You know how it's been, but break. I think they gave up a little bit. They started the game very, very good. I think the consistency is going to be what they were lacking this time. But to be honest, man, for Mr. Arnold to go up against Cooper Kupp first week of the season, I think it don't get no better than that for him. You know what I mean? Because I'm not saying he's the best receiver, but when it comes to route running, he probably is up there with Devontae Adams, and I'm one to say maybe Cooper Kupp next. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I love it for the learning experience. I feel like Branch still he was balling, but he still got a lot to learn back there. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like overmatched. It was more mental errors, lack of finishing, not more of not talented, or more. It was more mental kind of mistakes, kind of. So I am okay with that, because our starters didn't play that much in preseason, but they were locked in at the beginning. So it's going to be interesting to see how Aaron Glenn is going to keep that secondary locked in and being consistent. Because the Rams only had 3 points at halftime.
Right.
So whatever they were doing in the first half definitely was working, and they were definitely executing it. So let's see where that misslip happened in between those times. But from what I see from the beginning, it's something we can work with. How they played, how that secondary played, that would have been one of the best performances of last year, even though the second half fell apart. So I think that first half, that's the best secondary we've seen since Grover, Clem, and Slay. So now what can we do to make sure we see more of that and be more consistent in the right things that we did do? To be honest with you, a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, everybody on the field is an option, and you don't get that a lot with quarterbacks. So it was a good test to have that so-called gunslinger slinging the ball and doing what he do, just to show this defense where they're weak at and where they need to be more consistent at. But if I had to give them a grade, it would definitely be a C. And then the reason why it was a C, because I seen A work in the beginning, and it fell down to maybe D work, and it can't be an F because we won the game. So
Right.
I'm gonna give him a C, not even a plus. It's a straight C. And just to say there is room for improvement, but I am definitely optimistic about what they got going on.
I think if I was Aaron Glenn, and I'm not, but if I was Aaron Glenn, I think one of the first things that I would have done in film study this week is I would have put on tape all of the dropped interception opportunities that we had in that game, because there were a lot of them. I don't know if
Right.
people really kept track of that at home.
Right.
I didn't put together a highlight reel of it, but
That quarterback is the king of the drop interceptions too. But whatever.
but
I wish Nate was here. But whatever.
but there was a lot of opportunity there to, to intercept the ball. We did get one of them, but it's like, man, there was a couple others, and Brian Branch was one of the biggest offenders when it came to that.
Yeah.
He would get right there and then all of a sudden drop the ball. And I get it. The old adage is, you play defensive back because you were a wide receiver that couldn't catch. Like, I get the joke, but it ain't funny. Okay.
you so silly.
But I'm just saying, it's not funny
Yeah, I
when
feel
you're looking at it like we could have just destroyed them, because there were opportunities out there. The other thing that I would be concerned about if I'm Aaron Glenn is, where was the pass rush we kept hearing about? Because it did eventually get home. They eventually got to him. But there was a lot of times where, even though their offensive line was banged up, and they were, okay, they were talking about it right there on the broadcast, saying, man, I don't even know how this offensive line for the Rams is sticking together. And it's like, well, they're giving Stafford a clean pocket. Like, yeah, we got to him after he threw the ball. But it's like, man, like that's a little concerning to me. Now, granted, we didn't have DJ Reader in there, and I think that's going to make a huge difference with him next to Aleem McNeil. And yes, some of the other guys are newer to this roster and they didn't play a lot in the preseason. So I understand. I kind of have to weigh things based on the fact that this was their first experience playing this year, and not 3 preseason games worth of practice and then the game itself. So maybe it will get better. But it's just like, to me, I kept seeing poor Aiden Hutchinson doing everything he possibly could. And it's like, where is the other player on the other side to kind of crunch? I'll use the words Campbell used, crunch the can towards Hutchinson. Like, where are those? Where was that? Because I didn't see that a lot. I saw Aiden trying to get there, and then he'd get there a little bit too late or whatever. But it's like, that pass rush to me is more concerning than the secondary. Because the secondary, I thought they held up pretty well. I agree with Bobby, though. Second half, none of the defense looked like they were right. And then offensively, we got cold for a little while. We haven't even talked about the offense. We'll get there. But Bobby, you had your hand up, so
yeah, brother. I'm interested. I don't know if they talked about it or I missed it or whatnot, but I'm interested to see why James Houston didn't play, because I think he would have been. I think he would have been the missing link on that one, man. Because he was
that's a good point. I didn't even notice that he didn't play.
Yeah, he was a healthy. Yeah, he was a healthy scratch. If he was out there, Aiden Hutch would have had help. Just me personally, maybe I'm biased. Maybe I'm not seeing the practices, but come on, man, that would have been a game he could have ate. So
yeah, especially with all the injuries. I mean, that, like. And for Aiden, I'm not saying anything bad about Aiden, because you can't question that guy's toughness or his effort. Like, he finishes every play. But when you are getting chipped at the line by an offensive lineman and then either a running back or a tight end, like, you got multiple obstacles in front of you. It's like those shows that I don't even know if they still have them on TV anymore or not, Bobby, but those obstacle shows, like Wipeout, where like there's
I remember. Yeah, they do. They do
from the things or whatever.
They do.
Like, Aiden Hutchinson has to go through a wipeout essentially on every single play. He's got to jump over the ball, jump over the muddy lake, swing on the rope just to try to get the quarterback, because they're just throwing whatever they can in front of him, right? They're just throwing obstacle after obstacle. Whereas these other guys, they just got to get through an offensive lineman. So it's like, come on now, like, help the guy out. Now, Aiden got a sack when we needed it the most. right before overtime. Because I don't know about you, Bobby, but I'm looking at it going, man, I know that Stafford can get the ball to the end zone from where they were. I just knew
Mhm.
that. And I'm like, if we have another Hail Mary that breaks our heart and it's from Stafford, that is all we're going to hear about all week long from major media outlets. I said, so please, God. And then Aiden Hutchinson hit him. And then let's talk about the offense. Okay. So I got some stats here for folks who maybe didn't catch the game or didn't see the stats. Okay. Jared Goff was 18 out of 28, 217 yards passing, one touchdown, one interception. On the ground, David Montgomery had 17 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs had 11 carries for 40 yards and a touchdown. Jameson, or not, yeah, Jameson, Jamo had, because nobody calls him Jameson. Everybody calls him either Waymo or Jamo. But anyway,
I was about to
Jamo,
say who?
yeah, exactly. Jamo had one carry for 13 yards. And of course, every Lion had to hold their breath whenever he didn't get up immediately after that. That was terrifying. Khalif Raymond had one carry for 12 yards, and Jared Goff had a first down run, which was exciting to see. I'd love to see that in slow motion with some dramatic music behind it because it was like, what is he doing right now? But he got there, man. He wasn't scared to go. So receiving, obviously JMO had 5 catches, 121 yards and a touchdown. Laporta had 4 catches for 45 yards. Gibbs had 4 catches for 34 yards. Amon-Ra had a quiet game, 3 catches for 13 yards. Montgomery had a catch for 2 yards, and Wright had a catch for 2 yards as well. Something that I want to talk about, obviously, everybody knows my favorite Lion that's currently on the team is Jahmyr Gibbs. I have not shied away from that. Everybody knows that. Jahmyr Gibbs was second in Lions history as far as most touchdowns by a running back through their first, I think it's like first 20 games or something like that. He's only second to Barry Sanders. So I like that. I think that's cool. And I wish I remembered exactly what the stat was that NBC said. But Gibbs, I think, they found a good role for him. And I really like the balance between Montgomery and Gibbs. And I wanted to go to Bobby about this. Do you like what you're seeing as far as how they're using each running back when they decide to sub? Like it seems like a lot of thought was put into how they use both of these guys almost as 1A, 1B and not 1 and 2.
Yeah, as of this, how they use them against the Rams, I love it. It's interesting to see how they do it going forward. So as of right now, after game one, I'm gonna say yes, but I still want to see how they use it in different games because how that happened, how we used them last game, the Rams without Aaron Donald, that ain't the same front. So not to say that we can't do that all the time. I just say we won't have it that easy to do all the time. But as far as how the players were called and how they were used in this game, yes, they were able to showcase what they bring to the table. Because believe it or not, they both tough running backs. There were runs where if Jahmyr Gibbs didn't do Jahmyr Gibbs, he wouldn't have been able to cut up for the extra yard to get the first down. So
Right.
I was impressed by that, even though it wasn't the sheer like Matt and Jukes and stuff like you typically see for him. I was more. It was cool to see. Like I remember, you may even remember Amir Abdullah. He used to always bounce it outside, but never cut it in. My
Yeah.
boy Gibbs wasn't waiting to the all the way to the sideline before he cut in. He cut in damn near as soon as he could, and he got the
Yeah.
first down. That was pretty impressive. I like that because at this point last year, they were saying he was more hesitant, not waiting, and all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
you can see his growth just on sheer not trying to be a home run hitter every time. Just let's get this Moody's changed kind of thing. So that not only that shows his maturity, that just shows that he know what to do and he's not trying to be on Sports Center top 10 or none of that shit. He's just trying to win the game, and I love that part. And as far as Montgomery, you see what we got with him, boy. He just gonna bust through the wall. He was looking like the blue and silver Marshawn Lynch. Honestly,
Yeah.
very, I was very, very impressed with how he ran the ball, especially in overtime. It seemed like um it just seemed like he wasn't gonna get tired. I feel like if it was 200 yards, keep giving it to him instead of if it was a 200-yard field. I think you could have gave it to him every time, still, right? So
Yeah.
and then our line, they are dog. I don't know what happened with that line because in the overtime, they were like a moving brick wall for that dude. Man, it was interesting to see. And then when they carried him from the 4 yard, the line. They carried him from the 4 yard line to the 1 yard line. Yeah, he didn't even run. He was just enjoying the ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well, and
that was all impressive, bro. Yes, real
here's
talk.
what I want to do. I want to go through that last drive, okay? Because I pulled it up because I just I want to see something, okay? By the way, stadium attendance for that game, 66,530 people. That's
That's
beautiful.
sold out.
That's beautiful. Okay. So here's that last drive in overtime, okay? So we start things off. First play from the 30, okay? So Khalif Raymond went left end to the Detroit 42 for 12 yards. Then from the Detroit 42, David Montgomery right into Los Angeles 37 for 21 yards. Bang, right out the gate, okay? First and 10, Los Angeles Rams 37. David Montgomery, left tackle to Los Angeles 28 for 9 yards. So we go to the right, then go to the left, okay? Then 2nd and 1, Jared Goff pass short to right to Jahmyr Gibbs, pushed out of bounds at the LA 18 for 10 yards. Then at the LA 18, Jahmyr Gibbs left tackle to Los Angeles 15 for 3 hours, or not 3 hours, 3 yards. 2nd and 7 at the Los Angeles Rams 15, David Montgomery up the middle to the LA 9 for 6 yards. 3rd and 1 at the LA Rams 9, David Montgomery up the middle to the LA 1 for 8 yards. Then
that was my play.
Yeah. And then, of course, LA calls a timeout. In my opinion, okay,
that was the dumbest shit ever because you let them catch their breath.
Well, no. I would have called a timeout before that. I would have called a timeout maybe a couple plays like after the 21-yard run.
Mm-hmm.
I would have called a timeout because at that point I'm like, we're getting blowed off the ball
Yeah,
right
they
now.
would. Yeah, yeah.
But at the 1 yard line, I mean, what are your coaching tactics at that point? You know what I mean? Like, all right, guys, get low and try to push them back. Like, it's kind of too little, too late at that point. Is I guess what I'm saying. And then of course, 1st and goal at the LA 1. We know how that went down. David Montgomery with the touchdown run. My point in bringing that up, okay, is not to be obnoxious, but to say, man, when the Lions needed it the most, that offensive line and David Montgomery, that running attack delivered. And it's a sight to see. I mean, especially in today's NFL, where a lot of people are focusing on passing the ball. You know, when you have a running game like that, you can make it to where the other team don't get the ball. And I was hoping, I said, please let us get the coin toss.
Right.
Because I'll be honest, I was concerned if Stafford got it, what would happen? Because the defense, was kind of struggling.
The secondary was on the ropes. They were on the ropes, man. They really were.
For the offense to deliver the way they did, man, that made me very, very excited to see. And, I hope this is a sign of things to come. I think it is. I mean, everybody's got high expectations of us. And that's the thing is like the Lions, for the first time in a long time, had to go through a whole offseason where everybody isn't talking about the potential. They're talking about expectation. That's different for this Lions team because before it was like, hey, they're young, maybe they'll get to the playoffs. That would be a good year for them. But when you get 30 minutes away from punching your ticket to the Super Bowl, Now you got expectations. And that's all we heard about this entire offseason. And week 1 went down to the wire, even went into extra time, but they got it done. And that is a game, I hate to put it like this, but Bobby knows, every Lions fan knows, that is a game that we would lose in the past. And then we would try to make up for it by finding positives about the loss. Like, well, the referees screwed us, or, this call didn't go our way, or, well, look, the guys gave it all they had. They put the effort in. Like, we're past that now. And this team is delivering when we need them to the most. So I love that.
I agree, brother. I agree, brother.
I just, that last drive, man, I had a hard time going to bed that night. And I mean, the Lions weren't the only reason, but I had a tough time going to bed that night because I had so much adrenaline watching them do that to the Rams.
Hell yeah, I had to play me a game of Madden, man. I couldn't even handle it, man.
Because they were like, They said, you don't get the ball. We're going to drive this right down your throat, and you might as well go ahead and pack it all up. Good night, Los Angeles, So to me, like I said, I love what happened in the game. If I had one complaint, it would be we let them back in. Didn't need to do that. That's something that is a little bit concerning to me. But I do think that will get better as time goes on. And I was a little surprised to see the lack of getting the ball to Amon-Ra. Now, I understand he was double covered a lot during the game, but it did seem like he was kind of an afterthought. Bobby, would you agree with that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
And the reason why I say yes and no, because it's just common thought that you pay the receiver that much money, you need to make sure you get the ball, right?
Right.
So that's just kind of common thought. I think we trained that way, but I also think this is a different Lions team where that receiver that we have in Amon-Ra St. Brown is the receiver you want to not have that kind of game. I mean, not have a bunch of catches. You know why? Because most of these damn receivers, if they ain't getting the ball, they're not good for shit else. He wasn't getting the ball. He was still invested in the game. He wasn't throwing no tantrum tantrum. Come on, man. Think about it. Think about this stuff. He made the play of the game. He made the best pass breakup of either team all night. Am I right?
Yeah, you are right on that. I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, where's he going with this?
So this is what I'm saying. He was still blocking. He was still invested. But I feel like I think the defense and these defensive coordinators are playing themselves. If you double team if you double team him, who the hell gonna stop Jameson Williams one-on-one? Straight run, right?
Yeah.
So now the question is too. Yeah, no, that's cool. And the question is too. Now, that's my wife.
Hey, Brenda.
He said, "Hey, Brenda." But now the question is too. Is the next team gonna see that and figure out a way? Maybe we need to be double teaming the J-Mo. It might just have been J-Mo's turn because you can't double team both, right? And with the running game popping like it was when we wanted to, them safeties gonna have to come down. So now the question is, how are we gonna do it? How are we gonna mix it up? Because obviously we are a balanced team, whether we like it or not. Because the run game is definitely better than the passing game, but the passing game ain't nothing to laugh at, right? So now the question is, are they going to continue, as my friend said, pick their poison? Because yes, you stop Amon-Ra for getting 10, 12 balls like he normally get a game, right? But you also letting Jared Goff and Jameson Williams get a better connection, because believe it or not, Jameson Williams had the best game of his NFL career.
Life.
Yeah, he had the best game of his NFL football life or whatever, right? And then it wasn't just the deep outs. It was the crossers. It was the stuttering goal. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so the
That
more
was
you
so nice to see, by the way. That was so nice
yeah.
to see him run other routes other than just a stop and go.
Yeah. And believe it or not, I wish Nate was here. Uh, from what I've seen of Jameson Williams going into his third year with the Lions, he has got better every time he touched that damn ball.
Yeah.
So the question is, do you want to continue to feed that beast over there, or you want to, mix it up? Because if you keep double teaming St. Brown, you're gonna turn Jameson Williams into a damn star. So because believe it or not, he's one of the fastest guy in the league. You don't want to start that fire you can't put out.
Right.
So it might be in your best interest to throw more over there towards Jameson. Now, boom. Now we got Laporta and St. Brown eating in the middle because that's where Goff throw it at. Remember?
Right.
Did you hear in the game where Chris Collinsworth was saying Jared Goff's best plays is in the middle of the field and I've been said that. Been said that. Remember, I said they was clogging the middle, forcing him to throw. I said that last year. So now I'm more inclined of feeling that way, but you can't clog that middle with that damn Ferrari outside. You feel me? So it's gonna be interesting. So it's up to
most teams only have one or two good players. Like literally all of our offensive skill players can beat you, whether it's Gibbs, Montgomery, Laporta, Brown, or, J-Mo. All of them on their own in any other offense could beat you. But now they're all together and they're all healthy.
Right.
So yeah, I get what you're saying, Bobby, for sure.
Yeah, so the offense, they like what I love to see, and we didn't even see this with Calvin Johnson, though, to be all the way honest with you. When you double team Calvin, we ain't had nothing else to go to. Now you double team the St. Brown, our hands are not tied no more. And then with that kind of options, as I say, you gotta have a game manager. You can't force it to St. Brown. The time Goff did try to force it to St. Brown, it was an interception. When he tried to force it to him again, St. Brown had to tip it. That's just more, hey, don't force it. It ain't there. And it just ain't his day. And it's luckily we got a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown that ain't a diva. Because if that was Diggs or AJ Brown or CeeDee Lamb, they even though they won the game, it's gonna be a problem, right? So we got, you know what I mean? Even though we won, it's a problem, right? So
you are definitely right.
We blessed for that guy because St. Brown, I was noticing St. Brown wasn't getting the ball, but I'm still noticing him affecting the game without the ball. And that's a skill that you don't teach. It got to already be in here, man. So just because his number wasn't called, that didn't stop the mission. That didn't stop his part of the mission. He had no problem becoming a guy. You feel me? Mm-hmm. To help a role grader. I'll be the role grader this game because there's gonna be a time in the very, very near future, possibly the next game, where St. Brown is gonna be a factor. And you know how Ben Johnson is. He'll put St. Brown in the backfield if that's the only way you get the ball. You know what I mean? So
now here's my question, Bobby. Okay. When J-Mo went down, and I shouldn't say went down, what I should say is when he didn't get back up after that reverse, did that give you any cause for pause for running him on plays like that in the future?
Nope. It wasn't a cause for pause. It was more like, God damn it, this unlucky dude, kind of, you know what I mean? I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad at the selection. I just was mad that at the football gods, why you're doing this young boy like this. You know, you feel me though? So I wasn't mad. I do. Let him go. You gotta let him go. I think it's time to let the training wheels off on the kid. So
I'm a big component of take the training wheels off. When I was coaching, one of my best plays that I would call, we called it Blue Angels because I always tried to have a unique name so that people would know what the play was.
Oh yeah, this is rocking the Lion shot glass too. So.
I got water. That's what I got. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah. This is what it is for the kids. This is water kids.
yeah, that's right. That's right. So, but we called it Blue Angels, but all it was a reverse. And every time we ran that thing, it went for a lot of yards. Okay. And so when I see the Lions do it, I get it. I understand why you would want to call that play in the situation that it was called. Have no problem with the play call. My thing though is now you got JMO actually playing as a wide receiver. He's not a gadget guy. He's not somebody that's trying to catch up on being behind because he's coming off of an injury. He is now a real meaningful factor in your offense. Do you really want to risk it having him run plays like that could potentially get him banged up and taken out whenever wide receiver is one of our thinnest positions on the entire roster? And that's why, and again, I'm not trying to convince you to come to my side on this, Bobby, and I'm not even saying that they shouldn't run that play, but it's just man, Ben Johnson, don't outthink yourself here. Use Khalif for that type of play. He's got speed. Don't use JMO for that. Unless you know that he ain't going to get touched, I wouldn't. Personally, I wouldn't because you need JMO. You need him. So I don't know. I'm a little nervous, and honestly, I wouldn't be nervous at all if he would have popped back up. And he did walk off the field on his own power and then come back into the game. But I'm just thinking about, okay, remember in Dallas? I know you remember that game because your dad's a Cowboys fan. But you remember that Dallas game where he had that big catch and then he was out for the rest of the game because of his ankle?
Yeah.
That's what this reminded me of. I'm like, oh, no. So, I don't know. For me, I'm just looking at it if I'm a play caller, I cannot afford to lose JMO and what he brings to this offense. So I'm not going to put him in situations where people could take a cheap shot at him. I'm going to have him run real routes and things like that. Just I'm not even saying don't have him run across the middle because, that's a beautiful play because no linebacker can hold up with this guy, right? But I just feel like you do have a Ferrari, so you probably, just maybe, shouldn't be driving it down streets that you could get it banged up on. I'm just saying. Would you agree, Bobby?
Don't agree.
Okay.
But you're not being paranoid. You're being cautious. It's not a problem. I don't see it as paranoid. But I feel like that Jameson, they got something else that's coming off that Jameson Williams reverse. I think you got to show it on film enough where they start to honor that. But it got to be. I'm just thinking optimistic with Ben Johnson. There has to be something other. It has to be something where you showing that where it's something another play off of that.
Like a throwback. JMO throws the ball.
Or just a fake or it's a fake and the line do a screen the other way to give. There's so many different things that Ben Johnson can be creative off of. So as far as game one, I can't say I've seen it too much yet. You know what I mean? What I'm saying?
I get you. I
can get there with you, but far as the first game, you got to open up the playbook and use what we get to win this game. This was a very, very important game. These first two are very important because not only they're a conference rival, they are literally the two teams we beat in the playoffs last year. So we gotta throw the kitchen sink, as they say, at it. But if I keep seeing the shit, keep seeing it, then I can understand. But as far as him going in motion, period, I'm a fan of it though. It's not just his reverse, it's just him in motion, period. Because if you don't want that kid to get a running start, even if it's sideways on the field.
Motion, I have no issue with. Motion him however you want to motion him. My issue is that specific.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're saying. Give him the ball in reverse. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because that play, people can take a cheap shot.
Right.
motion them all day, man. Like give them a jet sweep or something. I don't
Yeah,
care.
but
But a
all of that goes
reverse,
together. I think all of that is together though. I think
fair point.
reverses and I think that's all him moving before that. I think that's all him moving before the ball, helping them get a running start. But as of the first, if I keep saying the stuff, then I feel different. But far as
Well,
to say
hopefully, whenever they run it in the future, he won't get touched. He'll be in the end zone dancing,
it gotta
or
be some. It gotta be
or
some kind of
he'll just pop back up like nobody
yeah.
even hit him. But
It
it was
gotta
just
be
him
another
going
play.
down like that. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. But see, and that's another thing, man. You gotta let him play, man. You gotta let him play, man. If
Because
you can't be
I
calling plays hoping he don't get hurt, right? So
yeah,
you
that's
gotta
a
let
fair
him
point.
go. You
That's a
gotta
fair
let him
point.
go. If he get hurt, we just gotta be ready for the next man to be up. We can't be treating him like a newborn, man. You gotta let him go.
Yeah, I mean
But I understand. I know what you mean. Like I want to say you just this you speaking cautiously. You're not planning on the worst. You preparing for the worst, right?
right.
So as I to sit here and say you don't make sense, I would be lying. But to all I can do is like I do with every other player on this team. Hope he get up. That's it. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
don't matter if it's Jameson or Khalif or even Agent Hutchinson. I just hope they get up, right? So
Yeah,
if
and I wasn't a fan of the Lions back in the early 2000s, but I remember them being very excited when they had Roy Williams and I believe it was Charles Rogers, if I'm not mistaken. I could be
right,
wrong with the name, but I remember them being very excited about the different wide receivers they had drafted, and then those guys never really playing together on the field that much because of injury. So
right.
that I think that's another reason why I'm a little bit like, okay, like let's be smart with how we use this Ferrari.
And,
Uh,
and I want to throw this out here too. You already mentioned all the weapons we got.
yeah,
He ain't gonna get the ball the most. I promise you that.
that's
So
true. That's
yeah,
true.
he ain't getting it the most. So you just want to put him in a position when he get the ball, he can be JMO. So
Yeah,
even if that's doing reverses, because believe it or not, that boy ain't no punk. He blocking everything. He get physical. So you know what I mean. I
yeah,
wouldn't say it is like I wouldn't say that he fragile, or I wouldn't say that he's just a one-minded player. Same with St. Brown. Last year he wasn't getting the ball, but he was still invested. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Now with Josh Reynolds Butterfinger ass up out of here, we can let JMO be JMO, man. Just let him go, and
yeah.
just like with every other player, we just hope they get up, Elijah. We can't if
Mhm.
they don't get up, it ain't our fault. We're trying to win, so.
Right.
Just hope he get up, Elijah. But I feel you.
Quick detour before we go into week 2 here, because this is a situation that I think people need. There's a couple situations I think people need to keep an eye on over these next couple weeks. Okay, so I'm gonna try to go through these as quickly as I can. Situation number one: Daniel Jones is not going to be the starting quarterback for the Giants that much
Man,
longer,
he's sorry as hell, man.
and it is increasingly likely that people in New Jersey, by way of New York,
Oh, you so silly.
are about to get fired. Okay. Think about it like this: what was the worst thing that could happen to the Giants this week as they wore their special uniforms that looked like the Montreal Canadiens from the NHL? The worst thing that could happen to them is to get blown out by the Vikings. Check. To have Daniel Jones play like dog crap. Check again. To have the replacement for Saquon Barkley play horrible. That's a third check. And to have Saquon Barkley go off in his game against the Packers. They literally, like, and I don't bet, but like I think they call that a parlay when you're like hoping on different things to happen, with different athletes or whatever that you can hit on. That way you win a bunch of money. Like if somebody would have had that train wreck of a parlay for the New York Giants this weekend, they would have won a lot of money. But I'm telling you, okay, Daniel Jones and I said this about 2 months ago, I think it was. Not 2 months ago, it was a month ago. It was in August. I said on my radio show, because everybody was giving love to Daniel Jones because he got in a fight against us. He got in a fight against us in the practice. He pushed one of our guys. And everybody, I heard on all these big talk shows, people that make way more money than I'm ever going to see in my lifetime, talking about how great it was that the quarterback got involved in a fight. And what did I say on my radio show? I said a shove in August does not lead to a Super Bowl in February. If the best thing they're talking about you at the quarterback position is the fact that you got involved in a fight, that means you sorry as hell because you ain't giving them nothing else to talk about. Okay?
Yeah, you ain't lying, Elijah.
So I'm just saying, keep an eye on the Giants because something bad is about to occur. And you could see Tommy Cutlets coming in to take over for Daniel Jones or Drew Lock very shortly. Okay, very, very shortly. And then in that same stadium, keep an eye on Aaron Rodgers. Keep an eye on Aaron Rodgers because here's the thing. Everybody wants to talk about, after last night, how Aaron Rodgers got through a whole game of football like that's some sort of accomplishment. They want to talk about the fact that, he threw a touchdown on a play where there was a flag thrown, and he's the best to ever do it when there's a flag thrown and it's a free play and all this other stuff. You lost the game. You lost the game.
Overrated. That defense overrated, man. I think the defense did, though.
And here's the thing.
On the quarterback.
The story from last night is actually running back Jordan Mason out of Georgia Tech.
Yeah, he was balling. Who
got told not that long before the game that he was going to be Christian McCaffrey last night.
He's sweet, bro.
And when he played for Georgia Tech, guess who his understudy was? Jahmyr Gibbs. Those two guys were tight. Very, very tight on that Georgia Tech roster. And there was some pretty lean years wins-wise for Georgia Tech during that time period. But Jordan Mason, he's a 25-year-old running back. I think he probably either got himself a little bit more money from the 49ers last night or he got himself some money from some other team.
He definitely put McCaffrey on the bench for a few more weeks.
Right.
That's for damn sure.
I think Mason is the story from last night, not Rodgers. But if you want to look at Rodgers, okay, do that. He was 13 out of 21 for one touchdown, and I think he had one interception. You know what that stat line sounds like to me, Bobby? Sounds like Zach Wilson.
Shit.
Because that's the same type of stat line you could expect to see from Zach Wilson. And on top of that, when Aaron Rodgers got pressured
out, you gotta watch the game. Zach Wilson is different, though. If you watch the game and see it, no.
I'm just saying, stat-wise, it's like
this is why we ain't agreeing on this.
And on top of that, whenever he had to leave the pocket, it was like the whole thing was in slow motion. Every time he had to move around, it was like slow motion. So unless their offensive line is as good as they think it is, they better make sure he can stand there like a statue and deliver that ball. Otherwise, New York Jets are going to be in some trouble.
They're going to fix that damn defense.
And defensively, that was supposed to be their bread and butter. Because remember, their coach was hired at the same time as our coach.
That motherfucker sucked.
Their coach was celebrated out the gate. Oh my God, look how great Saleh is and how goofy Campbell is. Well, now, it's amazing what a couple years does, right? But Saleh and that GM for the Jets, if they don't get it turned around by, I'll say, week 7, they both gone. They will both be gone. Mark my words on that.
Especially if that damn defense keep playing like that.
And last one that's non-Lions related before we get to our week 2 opponent. The Cleveland Browns.
They sorry as hell, bro.
Now, here's my thing on
the quarterback specifically.
Deshaun Watson is going to go down as one of the worst free agent acquisitions ever in the history of the
NFL. That's the wackest contract since Jamarcus Russell. Period. Point blank.
Right. But to back up what Bobby and I are saying, because we both
He a
agree on
bum.
this one.
He a bum.
When he was in Houston, he played 4 years in Houston. I'm just talking about passing the ball, okay? He had 119 touchdowns, 47 interceptions, and he had a record of 28 and 25. They were making the playoffs. They were doing really well. He was being talked about as one of the bright young stars in the NFL. Then obviously he had all the allegations. He settled the allegations. Now he's got a new allegation, by the way.
Yeah, fuck him.
And Cleveland said, "Oh, baby, that's our man. We got Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield got us to the playoffs. Baker Mayfield won a playoff game for Cleveland for the first time in eons.
Yeah,
But
beat Pittsburgh.
but sometimes when you think that grass is going to be greener, you make stupid decisions. And Cleveland said, "Get out of here, Baker. We want Deshaun." And what happened with that? He's been injured a lot. He's got 15 touchdowns to 11 interceptions and an 8-5 record
Sorry
as
as
a
fuck.
Browns quarterback. And he looked like he was getting beat badly against the Cowboys. So to me, I kind of look at this and I go, this is a lesson right here that Cleveland is learning, unfortunately, the hard way, because they had everything they needed. They just needed to be patient with Baker Mayfield, and they couldn't bring themselves to do it. Now, Baker, he didn't make it happen whenever he went to Carolina. Carolina, by the way, they looked atrocious.
I'm sorry.
But their owner is not patient, which I think is the reason why Carolina is so sorry. But anyway, Baker couldn't make it work in Carolina, gets shipped to the Rams, then he goes to the Buccaneers. So it took a little bit for him to get his redemption story, but he's a perfect fit in Tampa. They love him in Tampa. And that's a perfect sports community for him to be in, because for Tampa Bay, man, you win a playoff game there, they'll love you for 4 to 5 years. They don't expect championships all the time down there in Tampa. So it's like the perfect situation for Baker. And that's kind of where I want to transition into our week 2 thing. But before I do that, are there any storylines that you, Bobby, are kind of looking at with other teams in the NFL? And did you have any thoughts on anything I said?
Yeah, Caleb Williams. He played like jack shit. I thought he was the next coming of I can't
Mahomes.
think of I'm trying to think of a good Bears quarterback. McMahon, I guess. I don't know. What the
They
hell?
never had one. That's the thing.
Well, he ain't either. So he in the graveyard too. Nah, but I tried to tell these people it was
I tried to tell you
preseason.
too.
It's preseason. He playing against a bunch of third stringers and
Dennis.
plumbers. Yeah, dentists. No, not dentists. Plumbers, doctors, Walmart workers, readers, whatever. But no, real big dog. Yeah, it just when the real football happened, it's a lot different. Caleb Williams looked like he was in over his head. He actually looked like a rookie. So I just was like, the Bears defense, I hate to say it, they look legit. But to expect the damn defense to save them every damn game, that ain't gonna happen. Right. So now the question is, what kind of quarterback is he gonna be? Obviously he don't need to take no risks. Let the defense do it. But his one and his two receivers, his number one receiver and his number two receiver is hurt. DeAndre Swift turned into the Detroit Lions. DeAndre Swift with very underwhelming performance, and he was healthy. So I can't say that's the 85 Bears, but damn, they're gonna need to dig them up because these dudes ain't they good, but they ain't gonna be able to do that. They ain't gonna be able to score all the points. Do you know how unbelievable that the defense actually won the game? They actually had to score damn points.
Right.
So
and
I don't know, man.
Bobby ain't hating for no reason, by the way, to anybody that might be watching this later on. Caleb Williams was 14 out of 29.
He didn't even get 100 yards.
14 out of 29 for 93 yards passing.
Hey, Justin Fields was giving you better than that.
Right. But again, grass was greener. But with Caleb Williams, okay, I was saying, and Bobby knows this, during our draft analysis, I said, I got a bad feeling about this one. I said, because you look at USC, man, first 6 weeks of the season, oh my God, look at how great they are. And then they just dropped off the face of the earth, and it was like Caleb Williams quit on the team. I said that. I kept saying that. And like, here's an example of why I was concerned. But again, it was his first game in the NFL against real NFL opponents, not just preseason, camp bodies. So we'll see what he does moving forward. I think he'll be better. I mean, the Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer ever in their entire organization history. The 2 times they went to the Super Bowl, they had McMahon as the quarterback one time. And if you go back and look at the stats for that, I don't have time to look it up right now, but it was not a great season for him by any means. And then the other time they had Rex Grossman. And I don't really have to say anything other than that. They had Rex Grossman. That was their starting quarterback. So, but again, for Caleb Williams, we'll see what happens. But I agree with Bobby. I was expecting a little bit more than what
Yeah, man. I thought he was the next thing coming. He's a bum. Sam Darnold looked better than him. Sam Darnold looked pretty good.
And Jordan Love got hurt.
Yeah.
Jordan Love's going to be out, from what I understand, at least 3 to 4 weeks, maybe 4 to 5 weeks. And I mean, again, it's one of those storylines that keeps popping up, it seems like, every year with the Packers, which is people count them out way too early and then they come back. So again, today, all it was, from what I heard, was people talking about, oh, the Packers season is over. It's like it's 4 to 5 weeks.
They're setting it up.
It ain't over. Yeah, exactly. They're setting
it up.
But Malik Willis is going to get his shot, with that Green Bay offense. And honestly, I'm excited for Malik, because Malik walked into a really cruddy situation in Tennessee where I don't think the organization was completely aligned on wanting him.
Who? What, Levis?
Yeah.
No. Or Willis.
Willis, yeah. I think he walked into a situation kind of like, and it was the same team that did it, actually, Bobby. Remember when Vince Young went to the Titans and the owner wanted him? But
Fisher didn't want him.
I kind of feel like that was the situation with Malik Willis, because Malik Willis, he was really good at Liberty. He was really good at Liberty, and he may be a really good quarterback, but he's going to get a chance here with Green Bay. And that's crazy, too, because he hasn't even been on that team that long, Bobby. He's only been on Green Bay for like 2 weeks, I think. 2, maybe 3 weeks.
And he don't even know the fucking plays. That's the main thing.
So that'll be kind of interesting to watch. So again,
I think it's smoke and mirrors, to be honest.
We have another season where Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the division. Because I don't think Sam Darnold's better than Jared Goff. I think Sam Darnold benefited from playing the Giants defense. But anyway, let's move on to our second game before we get out of here tonight. So week 2 for the Lions, they are going to be taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as I'm looking here, this game is going to be starting at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And I do believe this game is going to be played in Tampa, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just double checking that. And actually, no, it'll be played in Detroit. Excuse me. So it'll be played in Detroit, Tampa, and Detroit. And, Tampa had a pretty good week 1. They played the Commanders, which obviously the Commanders are rebuilding. They're not expected to be the playoff team this year. But if
I like what I seen from the kid, though.
I do too. But I think he needs more around him.
Yeah. I know what you mean, but they got something to work with, though, for sure.
I agree. Baker Mayfield this past week, 24 out of 30, 289 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Irving had 62 yards rushing and led the team. Receiving wise, it was Godwin who had 83 yards and a touchdown. White had 75 yards receiving, and Mike Evans had 61 yards receiving and 2 touchdown passes thrown to him. So, Bobby, It's been a minute since we saw Tampa Bay. In fact, that was the last game that you went to at Ford Field was against Tampa Bay. How you feeling about this one? What are you looking at for this one?
Shoot, I expect to win. We beat them in the playoffs in the same building. Same with the Rams. I Baker Mayfield been balling and all that. I'm not gonna take nothing from him. But ain't nobody on that schedule we can't beat.
Right. I agree with
So
you. I agree with you. And
ain't nobody on that schedule we can't beat. So
and it's interesting that we have played the Buccaneers now, if I'm not
three
mistaken,
times. Three
three
times.
times in the last
And
365 days.
yeah, 3 times in a year.
Almost like they're a division opponent. Almost like the old days when Tampa Bay was a divisional
NFC
opponent.
Central. You too young for that, though.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that though. You know,
Okay, I just
in
said
the
don't,
in
don't,
the in
don't
the
you was
dusty in the
Elijah,
dusty
you was
era.
not there. You was not there. No, I fuck with you, brother.
But no, as far as Tampa Bay is concerned, you know, I remember the first time we played them, we did not have Gibbs. Montgomery got hurt. Reynolds had to come in. I remember the second time we played them, I believe we were at full strength. We had everybody. Gibbs had a good game. I think Montgomery had a good game, but Mike Evans killed us. He was just all over the field. So I think what's going to be interesting to see in this one is what direction does Ben Johnson take the offense? You know, are we going to try to limit possessions? Because that's the other thing I feel like he did with the Rams was he kept that ball on the ground and we chewed up the clock to limit how many times they would have a chance with it. So if that's going to be the strategy moving forward, that's fine. But just remember, the fewer possessions you give yourself, the fewer 3-and-outs you better have. Because if you have 3-and-outs all the time and you're only giving yourself 7 possessions and a half, that's not good, you know? So,
But hey, we got ace in the hole though.
okay.
We got an ear in that locker room. That cornerback, what's his name? Davis. We
Yeah,
got from
Davis.
there. He a chip in our cap that we didn't have. I'm pretty sure ain't too much change with that defense. They didn't
Yeah, that
overhaul
is
the
true.
defense. They might change some signals, but they ain't changed the plays. So we got help with our offense. We got an ear that's in the room on that defense.
And he was a
Look
leader on that defense.
exactly. And other
That's a
than
good
getting
point, Bobby. That's a good point. I
yeah,
hadn't even thought
yeah,
about
we
that.
got an ear. We got an ear on that defense. You know, the corner got to know every level of the defense. So we got an advantage that we come into this game with an advantage that we didn't have before, and we won without this said advantage. So I'm interested to see how they work out. But to sit here to say that they ain't gonna be a dog fight, that's a lie. And one more thing that you gotta remember too, that was Derek Barnes' game too. He got the game clinching interception.
Yeah.
So we seen the Derek Barnes that we wanted to see from Purdue this time in this game. So he does well against that. We bring a little bit more to the table. We bring in a better secondary. So I'm pretty sure. Well, let me say, I damn sure hope they have a better damn plan for Mike Evans than they did last year.
What would you do against him? I know you're not our resident defensive coordinator
Yeah,
because you and I both would ask Nate this question, but
yeah.
I know you watch the all 22 film a lot. So what would you do against Mike Evans?
I would lock him in this hotel room in Detroit. That's probably the best way. No, honestly, brother, I can't say what they were doing wasn't working. I think the talent they was working with trying to do it was the problem. So
yeah.
So I think it would work, but we had such subpar corner secondary that it didn't matter. So I'm interested to see how the secondary react. I wouldn't mind. I want to see Davis on him.
Yeah.
You practice it. You practice against him every day for years, right? So get your ass over there. You know what I mean? So and let the rookie get on Godwin. because I think Mike Evans might be a little bit too much for him, me personally. But I'm not saying he can't prove me wrong. I would rather see Davis on him than the rookie. So, and he's more familiar with him. So and that's the part that we're leaving out that too. That he practiced against Mike Evans every day, so he should have the best shot of containing him. So I want to see our new toys at work. And I like Baker Mayfield, but he ain't Stafford, so I'm interested to see how we do against a guy that can't get the ball to every single spot on the damn field. So
I've always looked at Baker as this generation's Brett Favre. You know,
no, he don't got the arm, but I feel you. His arm is nowhere near
I'm talking about attitude and the way he plays the game. Arm strength. Brett Favre had really great arm strength.
Baker, I say more like Jeff George, but okay. If you ever know who Jeff George is, he gunslinger, shit talker, kind of. But.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, that's how I always looked at him. And like even his draft photo, he recreated the Brett Favre draft photo because he likes Brett Favre.
Yeah.
And when we were looking for a quarterback, I was kind of hoping that Baker would be our guy because I thought him. I thought him and Campbell would hit it off. Because both have that same type of mentality. But hey, it all worked out.
Thank you, Lord. It all worked out. Mayfield is not our quarterback. Thank you, God. Because I would be mad as hell. But go ahead.
But it all ended up working out for the best. But you know, again, I do have a lot of respect for Baker Mayfield. I got a lot of respect for that Tampa Bay team. They took us to the limit.
Mm-hmm. Each time, we kicked their ass. We kicked their ass without our team. Without our whole team, so
and that's
like I'm more worried about Godwin and Mike Evans than the actual quarterback because them the guys that can embarrass you.
And I think last season, the second time we played them, you know, in the playoffs, I honestly believe the strategy in that game was: look, he can get as many yards as he wants to get, but do not let him in the end zone more than once. Like, I feel like that was the strategy, was basically you going for a ride, hang on, and make sure you're wearing some knee pads. You know, like I feel like that's what the strategy was. This time around, we got more firepower on the back end of that defense. And I agree with Bobby. He made a brilliant point. Again, Carlton Davis, practice against Mike Evans all the time, practice against Baker Mayfield all the time, knows all their defensive signals. Yeah.
All the offensive signals.
Yeah, that is a hell of a point. So, I mean, Carlton Davis might end up being that impact player in this game. At least he better be for the amount of money that the Lions paid him. Now, I am a little concerned though because he did get banged up at the end of that game in the Rams. I think maybe he just got the wind knocked out of him, but I don't know. He had to come out of the game and he was pissed about that. Now, he may have just been pissed about I have to come out of the game. Or he may have been pissed because of something that happened whenever he went, you know, because he almost caught the interception, but then kind of landed awkwardly. So I am a little curious to see.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I ain't going to tell you what I said. It's bad.
But does he show up on the injury report? You know, that
better, because or they're going to get fined. Something was wrong. But what I was about to get to, brother, is just that I'm interested to see. Hey, we played these teams before. I like how I like Ben Johnson play calling. It was kind of skeptical in the second half. I think he was trying to force it the same round in the second half. I really do. But Carlton Davis is going to be the key. He is going to be the key. I don't see Tampa changing too much within the year, right? So
yeah. I like that. That is a hell of an impact player. Now, I don't want to copy you, so I will say my impact player in this game for the Lions, I would have to say whoever
help Hutchinson, huh?
Whoever helps Hutchinson.
I knew it. I agree too.
That's got to get figured out. That's got to get figured out because again, Hutchinson's out there running the wipeout obstacle course on every single play. And that obviously he's going to be expected to overcome that now because everybody knows how talented he is. But it would be nice if he got just a little bit of help. Help me, help you type situation.
Help me, help you, help me, help you.
But I'm just saying, come on, man. Like he's getting every obstacle thrown his way. Somebody else has got to get there. And maybe DJ Reader plays. And if DJ Reader plays, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think Hutchinson's gonna get, he's going to get the sack. He'll go back for seconds and thirds. He's going to eat all day long. So we'll see what happens on that one. Bobby, before we head out of here, we'll do score predictions and final thoughts. So what is your score prediction?
Man, I want to say 31-14. I believe in this team. Real talk. So 31-14.
Okay, I'm going to say I believe in this team as well. Okay, so this isn't a reflection of the team. But I'm going to say Lions victory, but I'm going to say 27-24. I think we win it on a Jake Bates last-second field goal.
Yeah, he made it too.
But that's what I think is going to happen. A last-second field goal from Bates to win the game. So, and again, J-Mo went off against the Buccaneers, that first time that we played them. So, we'll see what happens moving forward in this game. I do think Amener will be a bigger part of the game plan for sure. Bobby, I'll head over to you first, man. Final thoughts on tonight's episode.
Man, I'm glad football back, but I noticed my blood pressure is on me good in the off season. So that shit that was happening Sunday, it ain't good for my health. I can just tell you that now, bro. I just realized, like I was telling you before, and when we doing our little pre-show meeting, like I noticed I have a non-stressful life until 1 o'clock on Sundays, right?
Right.
What the hell? What the hell was that? It was bad. It was bad. I did a lot of cussing. I've noticed that the Bobby that watches the football game isn't the Bobby that go around this beautiful city of Toledo as a citizen. This guy that watched the Lions game need to be caged up somewhere in the basement and feed him with a stick because I was fucked up, bro. I ain't having, man.
Bobby makes it sound like he's like a comic book superhero. He's like, my day, he's Clark Kent, and then he's Superman. Like,
more like Jekyll and Hyde. That's how I feel. I have an alter ego that I don't like. Keep Jason in the basement. Keep Jason in the basement.
So for my final thoughts, what I will say is I'm glad to be doing this show tonight with Bobby. I'm glad to be doing this show in general with Bobby, Nate, and Reggie. I know they couldn't join us tonight, but it is a blessing when you find people who are like-minded, who enjoy the things that you enjoy, and you get a chance to spend time with those folks. So again, I would encourage anybody that stuck around this long. If you got people in your life that you can go hang out with and do stuff with, I would encourage you to do that. Take full advantage because you never know what might happen in this life. It's a roller coaster for sure. But
off topic because I know you deep. Just throw this out here. You'll be amazed. Did you know how many people at my job don't know my name is actually Robert?
Yeah,
it's funny. Yeah, it's funny, man. Like that's like who is Robert Means? I'm like, motherfucker me. Is it that hard to see that Bobby could be a Robert? Is that?
Well, it's because you very much Clark Kent Superman, right?
Let's see. Oh, okay. Bobby
Bless. Bobby Bless is Superman.
I can't even. I can't with you. Like I can't be. Oh my god.
That's what the problem is.
The check say Robert Means. The check say Robert Means though. So
right. But again, Bobby Bless is the one that spends the money. You get what I'm saying? Saying? Bobby Bless is the one making the purchases, not Robert Means.
You make me sick, man. You make me sick.
Bobby's gonna say that next time Brenda gets mad about a purchase, he's gonna say, "Listen, baby, it's Bobby that's buying all the shit, not Robert. Not Robert. Come on,
it ain't me. I got to live here."
That's right. Well, hey, to everybody that's watching again for the number one Lions fan, Bobby Bless, for our resident defensive coordinator, Nate Rucker, for our other fella, our other big fella, Reggie Funches. I'm Elijah Winfrey. This is the On the Hump podcast, episode 76. We thank you for watching. And remember, hey, be good to yourself, be good to others in that